Dr. McIntyre, Tom Anderson. My son is a junior here at Fulton. I'd like to also say I'm a 10-year employee at the University of Tennessee, which in facility services, which some time ago outsourced their custodial services and are currently in the process of correcting that error and bringing those custodians back in-house. And a couple of things I'd like to say. First, one of the things that I've always thought about whenever I look at or consider budgetary considerations needing cuts or fiscal responsibility and that sort of thing is something I learned from my sociology professor in college, is that a budget is a moral statement. It's not just numbers, it's not just the bottom line, it's a moral statement of the values of whatever organization or school board is establishing that budget. And I would just respectfully ask the school board and yourself to consider what moral statement you're making when you're considering outsourcing the lowest paid employees. These are folks who know and love and care for our kids every day, whom I know the school, and I can count on the school board and the city and county to make sure that these are people who are safe, who are not convicted of crimes who will harm our kids. I'd like to point out in Putnam County they outsourced custodians. One of the first ladies who spoke referenced some situations, some very terrible things that happened out there. And the person who committed those crimes was a convicted sex offender when he was hired by that outsourced company. And if they're doing background checks on the people they hire, I want to know how they miss that. The other thing to consider is this isn't just a budget line. These are people with families in this community. They're a part of the school as much as the teacher and the principals and the secretaries that our students see every day. You know, I feel comfortable at night knowing that if my son's at school and he gets locked out, that he knows who the custodian is who can help him get back in. And if those custodians are outsourced and moved around from school to school, those are people that my kids will not help. This is a part of our family. This is community, as people have said. Don't outsource my family.
And they are expecting a lot of people to quit so they can lower the wages for the people they hire. They're also going to take away, we get 2 paid days for fall break. We get 3 or 4 for Christmas. And if we're off because of bad weather, we get paid. They're taking that away from us. They're taking everything away from us. I mean, you know, just because we're custodians don't mean we're nobodies. That's right.
Possible closings of 5 schools, and I have been there since kindergarten, and I've really developed an extended family of the students and teachers. I know we're thinking of shutting down our school, but we hope with the votes, if you do shut down our school, you're not just shutting down a school, you're shutting down a community.
My name is Joseph Smith, pastor of New Friendship Baptist Church in Lonsdale, raised in Lonsdale, pastor in Lonsdale for over 27 years. And I've seen a lot of schools close, and it seems like most of them are closing in the urban city inside. I've seen Rural High School close. I've seen Bridge Street close. I've seen Transfer closed. They're all inside of the city. And I'm saying there's more dynamics goes on when we're trying to build up our neighborhoods and get people to move in when there's no junior high school, no elementary high school, and you talk about taking mayor, you talk about closing line. So there's some value in those schools. I know we can do it because we paid all the money for the STEM school to come in. I know we can do it because of Hardin Valley, where we have more students. to meet the criteria and bus those kids out of the inner city to go there. I want to reverse that. There's value in the inner city. Why not? If you don't have enough students, why not bring some students in rather than the first option of shipping students out? I value the inner city schools and diversity. Also, I'm a graduate of Fulton High School too. But somehow or another, it seems as if we look at the least resistance, the one who that maybe don't have a voice. And I'm saying there is a value in keeping our inner city schools. Our neighborhood have went down because of the fact when people move in, they want to know where we go to school. And we don't have any schools. And you're talking about taking another one out. I think it's a problem for our system and the value. I think we all not just look at the school and the budget. What other things does it affect in our inner city, in the whole Knoxville community? Thank you.
Father of two daughters who's come through the Knox County system, and one of my daughters is a senior at West High School right now. And I'm concerned about all of these things, especially the closing of schools, but I wanted to speak particularly tonight against the idea of outsourcing the custodial service to I realize that you and the school board are between a rock and a hard place in some ways, and that everybody wants to cut right now, but I think cutting that custodial service by outsourcing is really also cutting quality of life for those employees, because there's no way you get $1 million or more in savings on top of profits to a private contractor and not know where that's going to come from sooner or later. Their benefits or their lost jobs eventually, and we just have to be honest about that. I also believe it'll mean cutting quality of care in schools, because our custodians right now are part of the school community. They're not just there. I think it will cut down on community in our schools. Our schools are communities, as we have heard here. When I mentioned this to my daughter, she immediately knew the name of a custodian at her school and expressed dismay that maybe that person would lose her job. So again, I realize right now the atmosphere is cut, but I think we need to ask about things like people, quality. I would challenge you, I would challenge the school board, I would challenge especially the county commissioners to challenge our community, whatever it takes, to think about raising the revenues we need to have a great school system. We realize we're in a tough time right now, but a great community demands a great school system, and that's the place. An investment in the school system is an investment in the whole community. So that's